Are you ready to start producing your T4 slips? Before you start producing these forms, you will want to make sure that all of the appropriate information is included on them. Watch this lesson to learn how information is populated on the T4 slips and about the process of creating and submitting these forms. After completing this lesson, you will be able to customize your T4 slip template to control what information is included on the T4s. You will then learn about the process of creating the T4 slips and about the different options available to submit the T4 information to your employees and to Revenue Canada. The information that is included on your T4 slips is based on a template. Before you start the process of creating your T4s, you will want to make sure that your template is set up correctly, so that all of the necessary information is included on the forms. You can modify an existing template or create a new one by going to Tools, Modify Forms, T4 Formats. You can access an existing template by clicking the List button at the bottom of this window. In this example, we will create a new template from scratch. Start by assigning a name and a description. Now let's start populating the template. The Employee Minimum field, on the Controls tab, is used to prevent T4s from being created for employees who have not exceeded a certain amount in wages for the year. Use an amount of 0.01 to indicate that T4s should only be created for employees who have more than a penny in taxable earnings for the year. Now let's move to the Amounts tab. By default, T4 formats are configured to have the appropriate values set to appear in boxes 14 through 18, 22, 24, and 26. These should not be changed. Refer to Canada Revenue Agency instructions for information about what should be included in each of the remaining amount field boxes. If you click into one of these boxes, the buttons on the right become available for use. You can use these to include the amount for a certain pay, deduction, fringe, or a formula in any of the empty amount field boxes on the T4 template. The fields at the bottom of the window are used to populate the other information boxes on the T4 slips. These are used to report employment commissions, taxable allowances and benefits, deductible amounts, Fisher's income, and other items. Each amount type is assigned a code, so again, refer to Canada Revenue Agency instructions for information on what amount should be included in this section and what codes should be used. To add a code, click into the Code field and then click the Text button. Enter the code in the Description field and then click OK. Then click inside the Amount box next to the code you just entered and use one of these buttons to pick what amount to display in this box. In this example, we will add a Pay ID to this box. We will use the Pay ID called Auto, which is used to track the personal use of the employer's automobile. Let's add a couple more. Let's save and close this window. Now that you have the template set up to include the appropriate information on the T4 slips, you are ready to start preparing them. Start in Payroll and go to Tasks, eFile, and Reporting. First, specify whether you are retrieving a saved report or creating a new report. This window only appears if you have completed tax forms or saved them as a work in progress previously. In this example, we will prepare a new report. Click Next. Now select the form you would like to complete. In this example, we will select the T4 official form. Next, specify the year you are completing the forms for from the list. Then click Next. If you have created more than one T4 template, you will be prompted to select which one you would like to use for this session. If you only have one template set up under Tools, Modify Forms, T4 Formats, this window will not appear. Once you have selected the template you would like to use, click Next. In the Employees to Process window, you can choose to remove employees that you do not want to create T4 forms for. Remember earlier, when you set up the T4 template, you indicated T4 should only be created for employees who earned more than a penny in the year. So you do not need to go through this list and deselect the employees that had no wages. The template will take care of that. When you are ready, click Next. And now, click Generate. You will be prompted to select which form, either the T4 or the RL1 form for Quebec, to create. In this example, we will select the T4 form and click OK. Your company's account number, that is set up under Setup, Taxes, Tax Groups, in Payroll, will pre-fill. Confirm it is correct, then click Next. If your payroll data is stored in separate company folders or master files and needs to be consolidated for tax reporting, you can do so by selecting Yes, I use multiple payroll data files for this account number. In this example, all of the payroll data is held in a single file, so we will select No and then click Next. The company information that will be displayed on your T4 slips is displayed here. Make any necessary changes, then click Next. The T4 Preparer window opens. In this window, the information for each employee is displayed in rows, and each column represents a value that will print in a cell on the T4 slip. Notice at the top of each column, it indicates which box the information that is displayed will be placed on the T4 slip. Take a moment to confirm that the static information for each employee, things like the social insurance number, name, and address, pre-fills correctly from your payroll software. You can make changes in the grid here, however doing so will not update your records in payroll, so it is recommended that you instead close this window, make the corrections under Setup Employees in your payroll application, then return to this window after the corrections have been made. When you are ready, click the Next Step button to move along in the process. Now you have the ability to mark any of the exempt status checkboxes. If any employees are exempt from these taxes, select the checkboxes as appropriate in the table. Then click Next Step. Now the focus in this window shifts to the right side. Here you will see all the values for the remaining boxes on the T4 slip, displayed according to how the T4 template was set up, as you saw earlier in this lesson. The values for things like employment income in box 14, employee CPP contributions in box 16, and as you scroll further to the right, the amounts for anything that was assigned to the other income area of the T4 template, such as the loan or public transit pass, are displayed along with the code that was entered on the template. Just like the employee information, you have the ability to make changes to anything that is displayed in this window. To change an amount, click into the cell and simply type a new value. And you can even add new columns of information if, say, you forgot to place an item on the T4 template by right-clicking on one of the column headings and selecting Insert Column. Notice that after doing so, the column says Unassigned. You must assign a code to any columns you add in this manner so it knows where to place the information on the T4 slip. Click the drop-down list and select the appropriate code and description for what you are trying to add to the T4 slips. And now you can add values for that column to each employee as applicable by clicking into the field and typing an amount. But, just like the employee information, changes made here do not update the information in your payroll software. So again, we would instead recommend that you close out of this window, make the corrections in your payroll application, then return to this window rather than making the changes manually here. Once you have confirmed that all of the T4 information for each employee is correct, click Next Step. And now the software will perform some error checks of its own. If any errors are found, you will see this message. In this example, there is an employee with a value for the CPP pensionable earnings that exceeds the maximum amount for the year. To see which employee it is, click OK. And the error will be highlighted in red. You will not be able to continue until you have resolved the errors that are highlighted in red. At this point, it is recommended that you close this window to research and correct the error in your payroll software. But if you already know why it is wrong and what the correct amount that should be reported is, you do have the option to click into the field and enter the correct amount. And once all of the errors have been corrected, click Next Step again. As long as there are no additional errors detected, the T4 filing and printing options window will open. The selections you make here will determine how the T4 slips are distributed to your employees and how the T4 and T4 summary information is to be submitted to Canada Revenue Agency. If you prefer to print and mail the employee T4 copies on your own, select Other Options, then select Print My Employee T4s. Once you have made your selections, click Next. And this window will open that displays the selections that you have made. You can print the information in this window for record-keeping purposes using the Print button. In this example, we selected to eFile the T4 and T4 summary and print and mail the employee T4s manually. Click Next to start the process of printing and e-filing of the forms. And now the Form Viewer opens, which will guide you through the remaining steps. The Action toolbar at the top of the window will indicate what step you are on, which copy is being displayed, and how many you have remaining. You can toggle between the pages using the buttons in the top left corner. When you are ready to print this copy, click the Next Step button, and then click Yes. Since we selected to e-file the T4 information to Canada Revenue Agency, there is a message at the top indicating that this copy being printed is strictly for internal purposes and should not be submitted to the government. In the Preferences section, you can select your paper source, which pages to print, and how many copies you would like to print, and down below you can even change which printer is being used. Once you have selected the correct printing options, click OK. And now in the Action toolbar, you can see that we are now on Report 2 of 4. If you are printing and mailing these forms to your employees, you will want to include a copy of this document along with the T4 slip. Your software will produce a single copy of this document now that you can use to make copies. To print this, click Next Step, and then answer Yes to the prompt. Like before, specify your printing options, and then click OK. And now it moves to Report 3 of 4. You can again toggle between pages using the buttons in the top left. When you are ready to print this copy, click Next Step. And when asked if you would like to print the copy, click Yes. Since this information is also being e-filed, again we are printing an internal-only copy. You can again change any of the printer options as needed, and when ready, click OK. And the Action toolbar moves to Report 4 of 4. If you are printing and mailing these forms to your employees, you will want to include a copy of this document along with the T4 slip. Your software will produce a single copy of this document now that you can use to make copies. To print this, click Next Step. And again, answer Yes to the prompt. Notice the message at the top of the window this time. Since we selected to print and mail the T4 forms, rather than having them e-filed, the copy we are printing in this step is the certified copy that will be used to mail to the employees. Had we selected to e-file these forms as well, this too would be an internal-only copy. Again, you can specify any special printing options you like, and when ready, click OK. Since we chose to e-file the T4 and the T4 summary to the Canada Revenue Agency, we are now prompted to complete the e-filing process. If this is your first time using this and you have not yet created your eFile account, you will see this window. To create your account, click the Enroll button. You can view the lesson titled Create an eFile Account, which is included in the year-end Anytime Learning subscription available on sageu.com, for step-by-step instructions on this process. Once you have completed your registration, come back to this window and click I have enrolled and have my login ID. And in this window, enter the username and password for your e-filing account. Once you have logged in, follow the prompts to select a date for your T4 and T4 summary information to be filed with the CRA, and then submit the information. Atrix will file the information with the CRA on the date you specify in this process. If you had selected any of the services that have a fee associated with them, such as the complete e-filing package, which includes the printing and mailing of the T4 forms to your employees, you will be asked to provide a method of payment in this process as well. Once you have completed this, you can check the status of your filings by logging into your e-filing account at efileca.atrix.com. After completing your T4s, if you need to make any revisions, or if you just want to reprint any of the forms, you can access your saved forms by going to Tasks, eFile and Reporting. Select Saved Reports, then click Next. Select the appropriate business number from the drop-down list, then click Open, and all of your completed tax forms will be displayed here. Select the form, and if you would just like to view the information or reprint any of the forms, select View/Print. If you need to make changes to the form, use the Edit button. This will take you back to the T4 Preparer Grid, where you can make any necessary changes, and then you will be prompted to go back through the process of printing and/or e-filing the information again, just like the first time. Now that you have completed this lesson, you should be able to format your T4 slip template so that it is set up to include all of the appropriate pays, deductions, and fringe amounts. You should also be able to create the T4 slips and the T4 summary in the software and utilize one of the different filing options you have to submit your T4 information by either printing and mailing the forms or utilizing the eFile service.